I just want to say I know mine's very different. A lot of people have talked about spell work, about astrology, all the different parts. Mine is more about the emotional and the personal transformation and power that you hold within healing. So I'm going to be reading it. But I do want to begin by acknowledging the courage it takes to even consider embarking on the journey of healing. It's definitely not something that's for the faint of heart. It's a deep, transformative process that not only requires strength, patience, and self-compassion, but it also requires you to lose a lot at the same time. I want to explore what healing really is, not the superficial idea of becoming the best version of ourselves, but rather the profound journey of coming home to who we truly are. It's not about perfection. It's about embracing all that we are in all forms, the light and the dark, the highs and the lows, and every single part of us that has carried us to this point. I want to talk about the parts of healing today that many avoid out of societal conditioning that tell us it's shameful. A common misconception with spirituality is that we must be in love and light at all times. As everything else in light, spirituality exists in duality, and that's where your true power lies and the journey truly begins. There are moments in our lives where we're torn apart, our hearts heavy, our spirits fractured, and the world around us seems unrecognizable. It's in these moments of darkness, when we feel most alone, that we often forget the one simple truth. Healing cannot exist without pain, and peace cannot be found without chaos. The beauty of spiritual healing truly lies in its duality, like I said. It's the delicate balance of that light and dark, joy and sorrow, the growth and the decay. We're taught to shy away from our suffering, to bury the parts of us that feel broken. But what if our pain is not something to escape, but something to embrace? What if, within the cracks of our wounds, the seeds of healing are already planted? To heal spiritually is to walk the tightrope between those two opposing forces, understanding that they're not separate, but intrinsically tied together. I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to take a moment and feel the weight of right now, and do me a big favor. Think of a mistake that you've made, a choice you made that you wish you could go back to, a moment where you have felt unlovable. Just sit in that moment for a minute. Now I want you to pause and tell that version of yourself that you love them, that you see them, and that has made you stronger today, that it makes you everything of who you are. That moment of weakness, the piece of your story you wish you could erase, was not a flaw, but an essential part of your journey to wholesome. To begin, let's clear up a misconception that many of us hold. Healing's not about becoming some idealized, perfect version of ourselves. We start this journey with the hope that one day we'll be this shining example of what society has taught us is health, happiness, and fulfillment. We think that it means reaching some final destination, but that doesn't exist. Healing is not and has never been linear. Something new will always come up for you. It's not about fixing ourselves or reaching some version of ourselves that's unrecognizable from the person that we were before, but it's tying that person into everything that we want to be. We've been taught by society to choose perfection, but what fun is there in that? To be something that we're not, to conform to an image of who and what we should be. We're told to hide the parts of us that don't fit that mold, the moments of vulnerability and the tears, the times we couldn't hold it together. And I will say this, I am a psychic medium, and I was baptized Mormon. So even being back in Utah, how we talked about triggers earlier, was a huge trigger for me. I remember being baptized and my hair coming up from the water and being told it was the demons inside of me. There were moments where I was tied to hide all of my gifts and everything about myself. And it's kind of crazy for me to be standing here today. It took me embracing the inner child that was told this wasn't okay, that was told I couldn't move forward, and was told I was taking on only the dark and none of the light. A significant part of healing is learning to reconcile that light and the dark aspects of ourselves. We often think of it that it should always be, like I said, joy, peace, love, and growth. But healing requires all of that darkness I talked about, the shadows, the pain, the grief, and yes, all of our mistakes. Every experience in life holds duality. You're going to get sick of that word today, and I apologize, but everything holds duality. There's light in the dark and darkness in the light, and it's in these darker moments that we find the lessons. And here's the beauty. And one of the biggest things I want to talk about, no one talks about with the healing journey, is anger. We're taught as kids to hide anger. It doesn't have to control us. When processed properly, it transforms from a destructive force into a source of strength. It becomes something that our resilience, our drive, and helps us rebuild what we've lost in ourselves. Every time someone's gotten angry is when we've seen change within ourselves or within society as a whole. When we said, this is not enough and we don't deserve this. I literally have, from my anger stage, and I always joke, I have so many tattoos up my sleeve, and I am enough written right here. Came directly out of my anger stage when big middle finger to everyone that told me I couldn't do it. We find peace not by ignoring that emotion, by letting it help us grow, transmuting that energy. Oftentimes, like I said, creating that lasting change, not within just ourselves, but a much larger level. One of the hardest parts, I think, of anyone's healing journey is coming out of, I don't know a single person that I've read that hasn't had some form of people-pleasing that is deeply rooted in abandonment wounds. It's one of the most insidious patterns we carry as humans because it often feels like it is rooted in love. We tell ourselves by that giving everything to others, we're being kind, caring, or selfless. But in reality, it's driven by that fear of abandonment, a belief that if we don't give, we're not worthy of love. We will be rejected and we will be left behind. That others' love for ourselves is more important than our own love for ourselves. This fear is often started in childhood, when we first learn that our worth is tied to others and how much we are able to do for them. That if we don't overgive, it'll eventually be returned. Truth is, people-pleasing is not love. It's a learned behavior. It made me believe that something that should be unconditionally given was conditional. That if I showed up in that way one more time, I would finally be seen as enough. I'd finally be seen as equal. After years of doing this, and it's going to be a little vulnerable, with my own family, I have been no contact with a few for a few years, and I've never been more at peace. Sometimes those relationships will come back together, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have to choose yourself and push limits that you never thought you would. It's for your own mental health, your own physical health. I was being a version of myself someone only loved as long as they could control me. Don't be someone that everyone else controls and you are not living for yourself. It's a response to fear, that false belief that we're only worthy if we give ourselves away until there's nothing left. What happens is that we lose touch with ourselves, the parts of us that need the nurturing, the rest, and the boundaries. We abandon ourselves in the process. The work of healing people-pleasing is learning to say no without guilt, that no is a full sentence, and to give ourselves permission to take up space and to be heard. To stop performing in order to learn love. And healing that abandonment wound means realizing that we don't have to earn love. We already have it just by being everything that we are. That those who can't love us for who we are at our core don't deserve us. As hard as it may be to let some of them go, and when we reconnect with that truth, we reclaim the parts of ourselves that have been silenced in the name of approval. We step back into our power and start healing from the inside out. Boundaries become a lifeline in this process, and it's important to remember that setting boundaries is not an act of rejection. It's not about pushing people away or saying that we no longer love them. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to start crying. It's about hearing ourselves. It's about honoring ourselves, our needs, our own feelings, and our mental and emotional health. Honestly, this is why I get emotional, is this was the hardest part for me, because I lost people to those boundaries. Setting boundaries is about saying I'm worthy of their respect, and I deserve to protect my space, my heart, my peace. It's a delicate balance, especially for those of us who have spent so much of our lives putting others first. We fear that setting those boundaries make us seem cold, and we're often labeled as selfish. The truth is, there's always going to be people in our lives who may not understand, or worse, will not respect the boundaries. And that's where it gets really hard. It's painful to realize that someone you care about someone you've given so much of yourself to, can't respect the limits you've set for your own well-being. But here's what you need to know. You're not responsible for anyone else's emotional reaction to your own boundaries. Just because someone can't respect your need for space or your need for peace doesn't mean you should apologize for setting those limits. And that's where the difficult truth comes in. You'll find yourself releasing people in your life you never thought you would, realizing that no matter who you have to say goodbye to, that you love yourself enough to choose that peace over the constant turmoil. The only person who deserves to have that level of control over your life, your emotions, and your decisions is you. No one else should dictate what you're allowed to feel, what you're allowed to need, or what you're allowed to prioritize. You're the one who gets to decide who stays in your life, who gets access to not just yourself, but your energy and how much you're willing to give them. This isn't an easy thing to do, and it won't happen overnight. I always refer to it as a muscle. It's something that takes time, and you have to constantly work it, reinforcing them over and over. It comes with guilt, fear, and the anxiety of not wanting to disappoint others. But let me remind you of this. Your worth does not come from how much you give to others and how much of yourself you sacrifice. Your worth comes from your ability to honor yourself, to protect your peace, and to ensure that your needs are just as important as everyone else's. This is where, and I tried to make this flow, this is where I've noticed for me, a lot of my clients, everyone, you enter what feels like isolation, what feels like sadness. One of the most difficult and often terrifying parts of the journey is that sadness and isolation that can come with it. Like I've said before, healing is not a linear path, and it's often far from easy. There are moments in this journey when it feels like you're walking through a thick fog, where the pain of what you're facing feels overwhelming, and the weight of everything you're processing feels like it's too much to bear, especially when you're confronting those old wounds, or slowly shifting away from people or situations that no longer align with everything that you're becoming. The loneliness can be suffocating. It's that feeling of being misunderstood or disconnected, when even the people you love and care about can't truly grasp the depth of your inner turmoil. You may start to live like feel like you're living in two worlds, the world of the past that's full of memories and old patterns, and the new world you're trying to step into, one that feels uncertain and unfamiliar, but oddly authentic to everything that you are. That in-between space, it can be easy, again, to feel like you're alone. It's not a sign of weakness or failure. It's the emotional release of what we've lost. It's the process of grieving not only external things, but also the parts of our own selves that we've clung to so heavily for so long, we now need to leave behind. We grieve the identities we once held on to, the false beliefs about ourselves that no longer fit, and the versions of us we thought we had to be just to survive. We grieve the dreams we once had that no longer align with our truth, the friendships that have faded away, and the aspects of our past selves that we must now let go of in order to grow. Healing isn't about erasing these parts of us. It's about honoring them as we release them. We have to allow ourselves to feel that sadness fully in order to let it go. We need to sit with the discomfort of that loneliness because it's in those quiet, solitary moments that we begin to rebuild. It's in the sadness that we uncover what we truly need, what we truly want, and what we are ready to step into. This part of the journey can feel endless at times. It's tempting to think that something is wrong with us. We shouldn't be feeling this way, or it's a sign that we're not healing fast enough. Give that muscle time to build. The truth is, there's no timeline. It doesn't follow a schedule, and it's going to come up at the most inopportune of times. And it certainly doesn't demand that we always stay strong or positive. Instead, it asks us to sit with the discomfort of that isolation and sadness, to let those feelings move through us, trust that on the other side we'll find strength we never knew we had. It's a deeply human experience. I always say we are humans living a spiritual journey. There's, like I said before, so much of this journey that says love and light. They don't give honor to our human emotions, and you have to sit with them. And though it may not seem like it now, this is the moment when the seed of your transformation is truly planted in living that human experience and feeling those emotions in the quiet, in the solitude, in the sadness. You're slowly rebuilding the foundation of a stronger, more authentic you. This is the point where you start to realize who your soul family is. The people that you lost, you start to find people that you're comfortable in ways you never thought you could be. Tabitha and Vlad. Tabitha pushed me to be on TikTok and find this community and build myself. And everyone always asks how long we've known each other. We share past lifetimes, but have known each other a year now. You will find people that will support you in ways that people that were there your whole life never did. Releasing societal expectations becomes immense of what you think you should do. I never thought I'd be 40, being a full-time psychic medium and being on TikTok doing lives. I'm a little too old for that, I like to joke about. But a powerful part of that journey is releasing what society tells us we can do. We live in a world that constantly tells us who we should be, what we should look like, how we should behave, and what success looks like. These societal pressures often disconnect us from our true selves, but the healing journey is about reclaiming your power and letting go of what society tells you to be. Healing is the act of stepping away from the need to conform and instead being authentic to your own soul's calling. It's about shedding the layers of conditioning that have kept us small and from stepping into our true selves, free from the constraints of others' judgments. Releasing societal expectations doesn't mean rejecting society altogether. It means choosing what resonates with us and discarding the rest. In doing so, we find the freedom to heal fully and authentically. Ultimately, healing is the process of coming home to who you are. It's not about becoming someone else or changing yourself to meet those external expectations. It's about returning to us at our core, to the authentic version of us that existed before we were conditioned by these outside influences. It's a journey of rediscovery, of learning to trust our inner voices, our instincts, and our emotions. It's about shedding the mask you've worn for so long and allowing yourself to be seen for who you truly are. Without fear or shame, this is the essence of returning to the fullness of your true self. Embracing every aspect of who you are and releasing the need to be anyone other than you. I do want to talk about, obviously, with what I do for work, the role of your ancestors and spirit guides, because at times this can be lonely. Well, I just talked about how easy it is to be that lonely and feel isolated, as though we just need anyone to see us, to hear us, or understand a snippet of what we're feeling. The truth is, we're never truly alone in every moment of struggle. There's immense love and strength surrounding us, waiting for us to open up to it. Our ancestors, the ones who came before us, and our spirit teams, the guides, angels, and our higher self, are always with us, even when we can't see them. There's an unbroken thread connecting us to a lineage of souls who have lived, loved, and fought through their own battles. Their stories are etched in the very fabric of our being. The wisdom they've passed down, the sacrifices they've made, and even the burdens they've carried are now a part of our own inheritance. When we start to allow ourselves to tap into this connection, while we reach back through time to honor them, we not only receive their strength, but we also have the chance to release the pain and emotional scars that may have been passed down to us. These are the patterns, the fears, and the wounds that no longer need to shape our lives. Healing is the act of freeing ourselves from those ancestral chains, of honoring our past, but choosing a different path for the future. We're not just supported by those who came before us. We're surrounded by our spirit teams, invisible yet very real, presence of guides, angels, and our higher self, all working to help us through the most difficult moments. Their love is constant and protection unwavering. Even when we feel lost, confused, or unworthy, they are there, whispering words of encouragement and sending us signs, guiding us back to our center and aligning us to who we truly are at our core. When the road feels too long, too hard, or too dark, when self-doubt inevitably creeps in, and sometimes the weight of our own struggles feels too heavy, they are the light that flickers in the distance, reassuring that we are not walking alone and we can always call on them. I know not everyone knows my TikTok, but I had to make a joke about the light. My grandpa, who is a big protector and one of my spirits, was a Navy electrician in life and had a union one. So when he gets protective of my energy or wants to say hi to everyone, my lights go absolutely insane, and it's become a lasting joke. If I don't give him a shout out, he'd probably turn them out in here on us. Their presence is felt in the quiet moments of reflection, in the synchronicities that appear when we need them most, in the gentle whispers of our hearts. When we're too scared to take the next step, and though we may not always hear them, we can feel them, supporting us, reminding us that we are not alone, that we have been loved, guided, and protected from beyond the physical realm, long before we realized it. The biggest thing I want to say with all of this, how I said, the healing journey is not linear. It's never done. We have so much stuff come up time after time again. We constantly have people trying to mold us in our lives. I know I talk a lot about the sadness in this, but it's important to not shy away from the darkness. Like I said, social media has taken to everything's love and light, but it is about that duality, about taking that darkness, not forgetting who you are, not forgetting where you came from, not being afraid to face the parts of yourself that you've hidden away for so long. When you dive into those shadows with love and acceptance, you find that you're not only healing, but that you're coming back to yourself at your core. You're embracing that you are not just the parts that seem beautiful or worthy, not just the parts that society says are lovable, that you truly are lovable by who you are. By accepting your own duality, you allow yourself to live more fully in the most authentic, strong version of yourself. It's about coming home to the truth of who we are, releasing all the expectations of others, and integrating all the parts of ourselves into a harmonious whole. As you walk your healing path, remember, your ancestors, your spirit team, and your own inner wisdom are here to guide and support you every step of the way. Embrace the journey, trust the process, and know that you are always evolving, always growing, and always healing. And I'm done, even if that's not 45 minutes.